This is Ego Defense Mechanisms Part 3, an article by Richard von Gremler, narrated by Matt and Madeline Anderson, and the link to the article can be found in the description box below.
Okay. When encountering less significant, threatening, and unvarying stressors we may be familiar with, the resolution process will still be somewhat stressful. But it's the more inconsistent and unique ominous stressors which will generate the greater apprehension and confusion. And regardless of the origin of the stress, and even though there will be distinctive circumstances affecting each stressor, if not understood and resolved, the stress and puzzlement will persist and compound.
Okay, so a really quick summary, because this is pretty straightforward, is that regardless of stressors, regardless if you faced them before and resolved them, or if they're new, they will always be stressful to you. And no matter how unique, because they all will be unique, if you do not resolve them, they will persist and build up, and just like any other stressor that you can encounter. Right, next paragraph. The absence with resolving the majority of the never-ending stressors at time of occurrence will create a phenomenon whereby, with each unresolved stressor that is accumulated, the accompanying degrees of stress will always coincide with the amassing stressors.
Right, so it's pretty simple. The degree of your stress is going to coincide with the number of stressors you have unresolved. This explains why something that might not be that stressful to one person would be very stressful to another, because they've got a buildup of stressors. And it also illustrates the importance of resolving stressors at the time they occur. It's like that old saying, if not now, when? Okay, so next paragraph. With some stressors, we'll be capable with resolving, while with the more traumatic ones, we'll temporarily avoid subconsciously, or possibly permanently deny unconsciously. And depending on the severity of the respective stressors, they will either be suppressed into the subconscious or repressed into the unconscious. So, real quick, the difference between the subconscious and the unconscious. What's the subconscious?
Subconscious is kind of, if you're thinking about it in senses of how you're looking, it's kind of like your peripheral vision, where it's there, it's there, but you don't necessarily always acknowledge it. And the unconscious is like what's behind your head, where you can't see it at all, and it's really hard to become aware of anything in the unconscious.
Right. So what does repression refer to? Where do you repress things to?
You repress things to the unconscious. It kind of takes
you suppress
things to the subconscious.
Right.
All right, next one. And because of the myriad of stressors individuals may accumulate over time, which is totally dependent on an individual's previous life experiences and emotional prowess, will determine the magnitude of turmoil within the subconscious and unconscious environments. So yeah, we think that one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
It's personal.
Yeah. This latter phenomenon is particularly evident when encountering the more formidable, uncontrollable stressors, since in most instances, on a conscious level, they will be denied, whereby the defining factors will involuntarily be repressed into the unconscious without conscious consideration. And this is what justifies ego defense mechanisms to be so intriguing.
First, I just want to say how proud I am that you pronounced conscious and unconscious so well. And then we're not entirely 100% sure what he's referring to by this latter phenomenon, but it's clear that he's saying, because what's formidable to one person is not formidable to another person, but everybody's got something which is formidable to them, and that which is formidable will most often, if it's too formidable, just be consciously denied. They won't even allow themselves, they can't, it's too stressful to face it. So it's involuntarily repressed. And finally he tells, he's like, this is where ego defense mechanisms come into play. Now we've got a distinction between what we're consciously aware of and what we're unconscious of, and the ego defense mechanisms are the guardians at the gate. They are what protect us from crossing the threshold into the unknown, which is actually there. It's within us. To some extent, it's known, but we're keeping it hidden from ourselves. And these barriers, ego defense mechanisms, are protecting us from from ourselves in a sense.
All right, well, I think that's a good place to end, don't you, Dad? We did one page.
Yeah, this would be a shorter video, but
all right.
we've covered the same amount of ground.
Bye-bye.